Hello again, and welcome to part 2 of Mosaic Coffee Breaks with David Baskerville on all things IT for law firms. In moving in this direction, any risks and downsides of everyone becoming more IT literate?
I think there are some challenges, definitely. Things like file reviews for firms who aren't fully digital in their record keeping. Remember 10 years ago, or maybe a bit longer now, is the fashion to have the away days, and they were a real fad, weren't they? When everyone was going away for a away day once a quarter. I think ironically, we'll probably see the other thing. We'll start seeing office days where teams go into the office to see each other.
Yeah.
The challenge is actually end user behavior. And the reason I say that is one of the things we've had recently is a client where, they were doing client ID remotely, absolutely fine, using Zoom, doing everything. But then what was happening at the last minute, the person doing it was taking a photo of the screen on their personal device and then emailing it in. So we'd done everything right apart from that little bit. And you sort of say to the person involved, why didn't you just screenshot? And they didn't know about print screen. And it's those sort of things you just don't think about as a technologist. You just the other obvious risk is if you're bringing new members of staff in, how you get them into your culture and all that side of it. I think that is probably the biggest risk I can see in terms of remote working.
David, let me ask you a related question about supervision. One of the anxieties that law firms have at the moment is the PII renewal looming in October. And insurers are being quite vocal about their concerns about the adequacy of supervision when everybody's working from home. How are you assisting your client law firms to persuade insurers that supervision is where it should be?
I think it's only come up for a couple of our clients. I think most of our clients are using online risk management, so they're able to show that the records are still being maintained and they are still doing their file reviews and the partner's still checking it. Team leaders, I think in most of our clients' firms, are being very good in that they are having Zoom meetings on a one-to-one basis as they'd normally have a one-to-one with their team members. I think without Zoom and Microsoft Teams, the world would be in a completely different place. I think we'd have struggled there, but I think the speed in which, again, it's one of those technologies we've been on for years. We set up video conferencing at one of my law firms nearly 18 years ago, and nobody ever used it. They didn't like it. So again, it's this technology that's been around, which suddenly everyone's gone, we're going to use it. And I think that has been a world that you can actually look in the white of somebody's eyes and have the same, it's never quite the same, but the same sort of thing. They can pick up on, is this person really nervous about this matter we're talking about? Is there anything going on? Which I think without the video technology would be extremely hard. Which is why I think most people are moving away from Zoom in a corporate sense and moving back to Teams or establish sort of like a PLC type arrangement or offering both. So I've got clients who use Zoom if the clients want them to, but they won't do any screen share. And they will just do screen share or document share through Teams because they feel it's more secure, and rightly so.
Do you think the mindset has shifted now so that people are more open and will be more open to taking on the next round of changes and developments?
I think, who can really predict what's going to happen over the next 6 months in terms of the economy? It depends what day of the week it is and what report. But, a few weeks ago, we were talking of sort of like up to 20% redundancies across the whole of the legal sector. Is one of the things I read. If that happens, we all know that a large of that will be in the fee burning elements rather than the fee earning elements. So I think that will enforce and entrench the changes we've seen now. However, if things go back to normal, in terms of everyone just comes back and there isn't those scale of redundancies, we'll see a slight slide back. But I think what we are already seeing at some clients is people saying, I don't want to go back to as it was. From a client's point of view, there's also feedback that clients are saying, well, my lawyer used to see me on the video and I don't have to go into the office, into the centre of town. You can carry on doing that. Thank you very much. So I really do think the genie is out of the bottle. So I think there's probably more focus on managing the firm with up-to-the-minute data rather than the annual quick look at data and see what it says. I think people are. Yep.
Do you think that there are any avenues where firms of the scale that we all work with are likely to be seeing opportunities to get ahead over the next couple of years? Are there any particular technologies that you think should be looking for and should be encouraging our clients to look for?
I think there is certainly a lot of emerging technology at the moment, and has been for the last couple of years. The ones that catch my eye are the ones that improve client interactions and ease operation with them. There's been a lot of talk over the years about client portals and all that sort of stuff, but that's not really ever truly taken off. I think now is the time to really get that style share of information going with clients, secure communication done properly. The other area is obviously risk and compliance is getting harder and more important. And there's a lot of emerging technology about how you onboard a client remotely when you never sort of press the flesh, as it were, that you really don't know these people, you're meeting them via electronically. How do you manage those risks? And indeed, there's a couple of firms I'm working with who during this time have decided to go completely virtual, and these are large firms who've decided to close offices and move all staff permanently off-site. But I think most of the firms that we operate with in terms of our consultancy are still in that, they don't have buckets of money to throw away or to even throw at developmental or experimental IT. And I think that's the bit that holds that mid-market back. It's that.
What sort of things do you think they might be able to be fleet of foot to adopt more quickly and give them a competitive edge?
So in terms of, and I'm afraid it is one of my old messages, it has been very, very efficient with your document creation and document storage in a way that you can creatively share that with your clients. I think that is something that a lot of firms have not yet got. I think being very good at a lot of it is the old basic stuff. It's making sure that your systems is sure that you run your business really well, you time record well, you bill well, and you're efficient in your back office staff. A lot of the mid-market firms haven't got that stage yet, and I would really encourage that to be an area of focus before adding anything on top. Get efficient, and then in terms of the future-proof, I really think it is going to be things we've joked about it a little bit earlier, but it's properly managing client relationships. I mean, a lot of firms are transactional. They don't really have that relationship with clients, and it is about creating those processes around how you manage your business, which then the software can come in and help you. Which has got a niche, and say you're a residential conveyancer, 50% of your business, you've got to focus, what do our client base really want for us? Firms have assumed for ages that millennials want text messages and updates that way, but actually there's some counter evidence to that. It's the personal touch that people still want from a lawyer. So it's about saying, actually, how can we almost automate the fact that we're being more personal than our competition? It's those sort of things I think will really help. The sort of touchy-feely IT, I think, is where we're going to be going.
Have you got any good experience as to what the best way to encourage take-up of the systems is?
It is training. It is, lawyers are extremely clever people, and to some extent that is part of the challenge, that they expect to be able to understand things, and as soon as a techie person tries to explain something to a lawyer in a way that they can't understand, then they're going to turn off and they're going to push back against that because they think, well, actually, I should get this. So having a good trainer who can talk about the benefits and why you're going to do something, rather than preaching at a lawyer about how to do something, makes the world of difference. So to some extent, that isn't actually training, it's communication, it's having a vision from the top about what it is we're trying to do as a business, why are we doing this? Because actually, anybody who says that IT is the answer to any of these problems is mad, because IT can help a firm do certain things. I've never yet seen IT work well if it's been enforced into a firm that the firm didn't agree with it. Yeah. And when we start doing the system selection, we'd always start by saying, almost forget about the IT, what we're trying to do as a business. Why are we actually making this change? We have a tab in there which is like the business change. What is going to be the change to the business? And that tab then actually becomes the mission statement and success criteria for the project. And that's what we get the managing partner and the selection committee to nail their colours to, because that then becomes your communication to the firm as to why we're doing this in the first place. And I think sometimes it's okay for leaders to say, I don't understand the techie bit, but this is what I want to do for my business. And I think if anything else, that's the one thing I wish people would do.
The word system selection there. I wonder if we could just veer off for a minute or two into the market, because there seems to be a phenomenal consolidation at the moment in the mid-range markets. At the start of the year, there were 7 or 8 solutions, and now we're down to about 3.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk that through?
Yeah, of course. So the middle market is a challenge one already, because the top 100 is basically Thomson Reuters or Aderant, a couple that are different in there, but very much that. And those two firms up till now have only been focused on those large firms. Both of them are actually coming down market a little bit now, and they're trying to have a simpler version of software. But in the mid-market, and by mid-market, I'm sort of talking 25 million down to about 6 million. There were only 5 or 6 solutions aimed at that marketplace. And within 3 months, in fact, since lockdown, we've had 4 major solutions be taken over by new vendors. And that has actually now left us with a situation where SOS is still the only singly owned PMS in that market out of those names I've given. Advanced Legal have now got Partner for Windows and ASB. Access Group have got DPS and Eclipse, and Practice Evolve have got Practice Evolve and Line Time. So when you're going to market, I've just named 7 solutions there, but there's actually only 4 owning firms. And Advanced and Line Time and Access Group are saying they're going to put 2 of their products up against each other. But there is no way in a long-term strategy you're going to be a computers vendor wanting to maintain 2 sets of code. I'd be extremely nervy about going into that without contractual obligations. So it is a worrying time if you're on an end-of-life solution, knowing what to do, quite frankly. And we've got a couple of system selections going on at the moment, which were paused because of those purchases. And we are seeking assurances from any of the vendors involved to make sure that clients get a minimum of 5 years development commitment before they commit to buying one of those products.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 and our final part of our coffee break discussion with David Baskerville. Thank you for watching, and watch out for our next session, which will be on marketing.
Yeah, we edit out anything that's potentially libelous.
Right.
And there's usually quite a lot, isn't there?
I was going to say, could make for a very short podcast, couldn't it?
Oh, have you seen?